Hi, I'm MakerMaddox, and I'm gonna mess this up so that you don't have to. Now, I know what you're thinking. Am I trying to con you or something? This is substantially similar to the last video you posted, Billy. Well, I bring it up because I put them back to back to prove a point here. I tried to do the tea staining on the tactical belt, but since it's nylon, and nylon is sort of a plastic, am I right? The tea didn't sort of take. So this is to show you a bit of tea staining and weathering. So here I'm just getting light little dips of the paint and then plunging my brush into the tea. So most of the weathering and staining that you're going to see on this ribbon, and it's a ribbon just tied to a plasticky clasp thing, you know, those plasticky clasp things. I don't know the technical term. But so most of the weathering done on this is actually done with just the tea staining. This being fabric, it sort of takes a lot better and a lot easier. And what I did was use the watered down acrylic that I was using on the belt as just areas to sort of darken it a bit. If you'll notice at the very beginning, I was working on the knot. I was using the acrylic on the knot because that's a place where dirt and grime and just general dirtiness is gonna collect. But mostly the weathering is done with the tea, and it just makes it really, really subtle. You're gonna wanna, here's a tip, you're gonna wanna take it really slow and really easy with the tea staining because you're wetting the, you know, the object, the fabric or whatever. You're wetting it a lot more than you would be with paint, which means it's gonna get darker because it's wet. So you're not really gonna know what exactly it's gonna turn out like until you let it dry. So it's a slower process, but a much more subtle process, and you can get sort of, you know, a finer tune, especially to something that's small and something that's made out of fabric. Now also this clasp is made out of plastic, so obviously I couldn't do the same thing as the belt buckle in my last video. What I had to do with this is resort to paints, and you'll see that in just a sec while I finish up the staining. You see these areas kind of dried a little bit already, you see? So I'm kind of hitting it again in the edges, going a little heavier so that the stain, if you will kind of sort of fade out into the middle. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but you probably know what I mean. Stains originate from like an epicenter, and then they kind of bleed out on the edges. So that's sort of what I'm doing, and that's why I kind of dip into the acrylic right there, just to give that stain a bit of an origin. So that stain, you know, originated in that edge, and then it kind of fades out, which is the tea. Anyway, here's the plastic clasp thingy. Am I gonna work on that, or am I still working on this ribbon? I mean, what's going on here? This one's gonna be much more subtly weathered because it's an armband that's gonna be worn around the jacket that my mom's gonna wear. And since it's an armband on a jacket, it's not really something that is gonna get very, very dirty. You know what I mean? It's much less than a belt, which is rubbing up like on your body, and like maybe you're climbing up something, maybe you lean up against something. Belts tend to get dirtier, you know? If it's something on an armband, kind of just chill there. But I did want to, you know, knock back so that it doesn't look so shiny and new. And again, this is gonna look much more severe than it ends up being because, you know, you're wetting the fabric. The fabric is absorbing the tea. It's absorbing the liquid a lot more, which darkens up, you know, like when you like wash your hair or something and it looks darker. So anyway, I don't know why I said that. So here we do some dry brushing onto the buckle. Obviously this is plastic, so I can't scrape anything off to reveal metal. So I'm gonna have to just lightly lightly. Do some dry brushing, you know, hit up the edges. You see it very quickly starts to happen. Very quickly starts to sort of pick up another quality, you know? I use these really ridiculously cheap brushes when I do dry brushing. They're very coarse plastic bristles, and I like that because they're kind of unpredictable, especially if you press them down on something. They kind of go everywhere, and it's really good for streaky things like this. Anyway, there's some weathering on the buckle. Make it look like metal, but not really metal. I did the inside of the buckle, of course, because, you know, that's going in and out. Oh, it's not metal, but, you know, that's pretty much it.
Thanks so much for watching. Roll the thing.